This poem was inspired by a letter Lady Labouchere wrote in the 1950s. In fact, by this extract. Easter has been quite eventful. Our footman decided he would like the weekend free with his fiancée. Found by advertisement, a nurse, I understand. So, he told us his papa had been knocked down by a motor bicycle and was likely to die. He, however, did not depart until the following morning. And later, the butler discovered that there had been no accident in the neighbourhood. We await his return. I should like to be a fly on the wall in the pantry. Lady Labouchere becomes a fly on the wall in the pantry of Douglaston Hall. Hey, this is fun. Walking vertically, not a care in the world. And without turning my head, I can see the footman sneaking in through the door. He carries the scent of flowers. I rub my legs together and I taste lavender. There's red on his collar. It could be jam. I'll just fly over. There's a gust of wind as the butler storms in. The jam is lip colour. So, the footman's nurse has been kissing him better. He slowly wafts his hand towards me. The butler lifts his too in anger. His mouth is wide, his face purple like an azalea. I watch, then as the butler booms and shouts, I try walking on the ceiling. I can't hear their words, and the cheese on the shelf is very distracting.
Thank you, Nadia. Douglaston, the general situation. From the lawn across Churchway Piece and Snaky Field, swallows, martins, buzzards, mainly high. Sunshine, fair to good, little cloud cover. Thrush and wren song decreasing. Skylarks, 3 or 4 rising out of meadow grass. Good for picnics and cricket, though pollen count high with some risk of hornets crossing over. Brick kiln meadow and the pasture thickening with tufted goat's beard and buttercups. Midge-drift and humidity rising slowly. From Brimpool to Walpool, Seggypill, Pool and From Brimpool to Walpool, Seggypool and Millpool, moorhens, duck and yellow flags. Quat flow, moderate or good. Tree shade, alder, sycamore and oak. Emerging damsels rising slowly, trout rise later. Stearns Piece, Upper Stearns Piece and Rickyard Close, meadow grass becoming variable. Dandelions 2014, painted ladies rising. Hay and haylage, moderate or good. Mowing in Stearns Piece, tedding, drying, baling later. The Close and Ox Lezo, First Square, Middle Square and Haycock's Bank up for grazing. Meadow grass, buttercups, lady's smock and shepherd's purse, occasionally ragwort. Rabbits 25, increasing rapidly. Magpies 2, but hatching 7 to 9. The further square, close next to Turnpike Road and Lower Meadow, orange tips 2. Ewes and lambs 150, also cattle, with some risk of horseflies rising. Bulls 3, backing heifers. Vehicles with visitors and dogs expected later. This concludes the Douglaston Field and Tourist forecast for Saturday, May the 30th at 1200 hours GMT. Jane is a doll who was made around 1760 and has lived in Douglaston House ever since the present hall was built sometime in the 1770s. The stars, she says, have blinked through slits in the blind for as long as she can remember. Never beetle, woolly bear, or otherwise infested, these small glimmerings stay constant as the fibres in her blocked and goffered frocks. Daylight, she says, stands not a flying buttress chance in mothballs of bleaching out either the brilliance of the said Milky Way, her beetle black eyes, or the varnish on her splintered fingertips. Dressed, undressed, and dressed again, she stood the best and worst of two Master Williams, Mary Dorothea, Moll, plus an unfathomable smothering in Olive Mary's mulberry shawl. Stiff-backed and numbskulled against her blackout blind, she can't think what the current fuss is all about. Look at me, she says, in this crystal mausoleum. Such skill, such colour, worked into each stitch across my flowered petticoats. So what if your banks have run out of cash? If your world has lost its grip and half the universe is missing? Tough cheese. C'est la vie.
For more than 300 years, the Woolrich family owned Douglaston Hall. The last of the line was Sir John Woolrich, who died aged 32 in 1723 in the following fashion. Headlong. Full gallop, leave the hall behind. My mother from the casement looking down, always looks down. The weight of family, of varnished disapproval, thick with dust. Those portraits lined along the walls, remembering the way it used to be. Sir Thomas, never out of court, fighting for every acre, his estate, accumulated, guarded down the years, losing the fight, the town, the war, but always clinging on, so there was an inheritance, my legacy. Full gallop, leave the hall behind, my silent sister, seething with reproach. If it were her, she'd do things differently. She would not back my fighting cocks, go racing, buy more hounds, but she stands helpless in her gown and mute. Over the river, drive him on, although the mud is shifting and his hooves have lost the confidence of stone. He knows my will, can recognise who's master here. I wish to ride to Chelmarsh races, so we cross. Full gallop, leave the hall behind, with my pet portraits, gamekeeper and fool. The consternation when I had them hung. 2 servants with the Woolrich family? Who cares? Great families display what they hold dear. I choose the hunt. These races too, I'm doing well. A wastrel to my sister, but a man who knows to back a winner. Yes, more ale, and then another. I shall stay the night. No need to risk the river in the dark. Enjoy my winnings. Douglaston can wait. Come morning, and the rain is lashing down. My horse resists the current, spur him on. My head's like lead, the level's up. That makes no odds, he's sliding, slipping, sinking, fighting me, but there's no turning back. Full gallop, leave the hall behind.
I met her once, walking back to Homer from marketing at Wenlock. Suddenly, there she was, full in my road, straight against the sky. Her eyes went through me. I was fixed right there like a partridge by a hawk.
She was living with the gypsies. She learned their secret arts. She read the cards, she read the palms and the laws that rule men's hearts. For Nanny was a curser, damnation up for hire. If you were cursed by Nanny, then your soul would burn in fire.
Potential. That's the thing. Even the worst of these young country lads can be a man if they but get the chance. Show them the way to read, to exercise, and they can grow beyond our expectation, raising sights, not barriers, to help them rise above the limitations of their present lives. We need a library for farmers, sports events, not just for gentry, but for all degrees.
She lived in Streatham Westwood, sold love drinks in the day. By night she practised devil's arts and no one said her nay. The house had been her father's. echoing with gloom. So Nanny found a lodger to fill her empty room.
My Arthur said it were a bargain, this. I knew she were no good, but he just laughed. She's old, he said. What can she do to me?
She loved him like a demon, she burnt him like a flame. He tried to check her passion, you lads, you're all the same. He swore that he loved Mary, he'd take her as his wife. But Nanny Morgan only laughed, so Arthur took a knife. He hadn't planned to kill her, just tried to break the spell. But the only way to lose a witch is to send her back to hell.
There was a party of us there, from town. The barb had found her in a pool of blood, but dared not touch the corpse. She had 2 cats, Hell's Boar and Satan's Smile. A box of toads they said she used to kiss, and then the books. You've never seen such books. When she was moved, we took them down to Falcon's Yard and burnt the lot. Strange patterns in the flames, I swear, such ancient evil in these modern times.
Sat in the horse and jockey, Arthur sipped his ale until the lawman came for him and took him off to jail.
At first they swore he'd hang, but then mercy prevailed. They let him live, but not with me. Transported Arthur is off to Australia.
They buried Nanny Morgan close by the Bourton church, but you'll never find a gravestone, no matter how you search.
I loved him, never lay with him. At night I lie in bed and hold myself and whisper, but all I get for answer is the cackling of a crone.
Buried across the boundary, half out and half within, the churchyard walls could not define the limits of her sin.